You might not realize it, but certain everyday habits are aging you inside and out. And the most surprising thing is that many of these behaviors have been overlooked for decades until Edgar Cayce's studies, he was known as the sleeping prophet, revealed clear signs that aging isn't just a matter of time but of continuous choices. He claimed that the body gives warnings long before wrinkles appear or vitality fades. Cayce insisted that small oversights could accelerate the aging process silently, to the point where a person begins to feel more tired, more irritable, and distant from themselves. Today, we're going to explore 6 of these habits and how to correct them based on his guidance. If you want to age with dignity, health, and presence, this video will open your eyes in a simple and direct way. And before we continue, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment saying which of these habits you believe you already practice without realizing it. This helps us to better understand what's affecting the health of so many people and allows more people to have access to this knowledge. Because what we're going to share here aren't just wellness tips, but lessons based on decades of observations made by Cayce about human behavior. We're not talking about miracle cures, but about a deep understanding of how the body and mind interact over time. And the sooner you understand this, the greater the chances of slowing down this process and even reversing certain signs. It's not about looks, but about awareness and decision-making. Because inevitable aging doesn't have to be synonymous with avoidable suffering. The first silent behavior that may be speeding up your aging is ignoring what your body tries to communicate every day. Cayce always warned that the body has its own intelligence and is constantly trying to maintain balance. However, when you ignore signs like frequent insomnia, unexplained irritability, or heavy digestion, you're interrupting this natural communication. In the long run, this creates a buildup of toxins, puts a strain on the organs, and causes a fatigue that no night's sleep can fix. The body shows its exhaustion in your posture, your skin, your eyes. And the worst part is, often people start to think that all of this is normal for their age. Cayce reminds us that aging doesn't start in the years, but in inattention to your own signals. Listening to your body is the first step to breaking this cycle. Another silent habit that ages you without asking permission is repetitive negative thinking. Cayce said that the mind is as powerful as any substance you put into your body. Thoughts of guilt, resentment, or constant fear create a toxic internal environment, which directly affects the nervous system, digestion, and even cell regeneration. He observed that people who cultivated negative mental states for a long time tended to develop chronic diseases earlier and had more pronounced facial aging. It's not just an emotional thing, but a physical one. The brain, in a constant state of tension, sends warning signals to the body, as if it were in danger all the time. Little by little, this wears down even the most resilient cells. Correcting this habit requires vigilance, but it starts with recognizing that thoughts are choices, and that it's possible to replace patterns that weaken us with others that strengthen us. A third harmful behavior, according to Cayce, is eating without attention and at irregular times. The body needs predictability to function well. When food is eaten hastily, emotionally, or without consistent times, the digestive system responds with subtle inflammations that accumulate over time. This not only interferes with metabolism and energy, but also directly impacts the appearance of the skin, weight, and overall disposition. Cayce advocated that digestion was the key to rejuvenation, and that eating with presence was a form of respect for the body. Eating slowly, chewing well, avoiding excesses, and observing what truly nourishes you, these simple gestures interrupt a silent process of wear and tear. The good news is that this doesn't require medication or radical diets, just a new look at the relationship between time, food, and self-care. Another critical point that many people ignore is the impact of light sedentary behavior. We're not talking about a total lack of exercise, but that routine in which the body moves very little, even if it seems active. Cayce saw movement as a way to stimulate the vitality of the physical and spiritual body. He said that walking every day, even for just a few minutes, was enough to keep the internal systems circulating. The absence of this constant movement causes slowness in blood flow, brain oxygenation, and joint elasticity. The body loses its rhythm and begins to adapt to a sedentary life. This affects posture, mood, and even sleep. The secret lies in consistency, not intensity. Small daily movements create big changes over time, and there's no age to start, just the decision to move with intention. One of the most common habits that accelerates aging is shallow breathing. Cayce said that breathing is the bridge between the physical body and emotional balance. Breathing in a short, rapid way, as we do when we're tense or in a hurry, limits the body's oxygenation and weakens organ function. In the long run, this causes constant fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and even unexplained muscle pain. He taught that conscious breathing, done slowly and deeply, was able to restore the body's natural balance. Just a few minutes a day are enough to oxygenate the body more efficiently, reduce stress, and strengthen the immune system. It's something simple, free, and available at any time. But for that, you need to stop, breathe attentively, and allow the body to return to its natural rhythm, away from the hustle and bustle of the world. Another aspect that Cayce addressed frequently was the regenerative power of sleep, and how much neglecting it ages us silently. He stated that sleep is the moment when the body makes profound adjustments, both physical and mental. Sleeping poorly, at irregular times, or with constant interruptions, prevents the body from completing this repair cycle. Over time, this manifests itself in the skin, memory, mood, and immunity. Cayce indicated that quality sleep depends not only on the number of hours, but on how the person prepares for it. A quiet environment, a peaceful nighttime routine, and reducing the use of artificial stimuli were fundamental points. When sleep is neglected, the body lives in alert mode, and living like this every day is like carrying an invisible weight that ages the whole being little by little. Finally, perhaps the most underestimated and most aging habit is emotional isolation. Cayce saw human relationships as essential to the health of the spirit and body. Distancing yourself from others, the absence of meaningful conversations, or the loss of interest in connections creates an internal emptiness that is difficult to reverse. He believed that touch, listening, and a sense of belonging had real therapeutic effects on the body. Prolonged isolation, on the other hand, accelerates degenerative processes, decreases the production of essential hormones, and weakens the will to live. The correction for this isn't in big social events, but in small gestures. A phone call, a coffee with a friend, a sincere conversation with someone in the family. Rediscovering this human bond is more powerful than any supplement. It's in it that the body rediscovers meaning and presence. In identifying these habits, it's important to understand that change doesn't require radical breaks. Cayce always reinforced that the process of transformation begins in understanding and is consolidated with constant practice. It's not about abandoning everything at once, but about introducing small actions with intention. Awareness of what needs to be adjusted already represents half the way. When you recognize that something is taking you away from vitality, the next step is to act lightly, without rushing, but with consistency. It's possible to breathe better, eat more attentively, move a little more, sleep with better quality, and cultivate healthy thoughts. All of this in small daily cycles. Cayce said that the body is grateful. It responds, adapts, and renews itself. But it needs to be listened to and respected, even when the results aren't immediate. In addition to the physical and mental aspects, Cayce warned about the power of spirituality in healthy longevity. It wasn't about religiosity, but about inner connection, about feeling that life has a purpose that goes beyond everyday tasks. People who cultivate gratitude, silence, and meaning in their routines age more lightly, even in the face of challenges. He observed that the absence of purpose generates discouragement, and that discouragement, in turn, consumes vital energy. Having a reason to get out of bed every day, however small, transforms the attitude towards life and strengthens the body as a whole. This doesn't mean having big goals, but keeping alive the flame of presence, curiosity, and self-care. When the soul quiets down and finds direction, the body follows with more firmness and serenity. In Cayce's eyes, health wasn't just the absence of disease, but the harmony between mind, body, and spirit. Therefore, aging involves an alignment between these three dimensions. When one of them is out of balance, The others suffer the consequences. Often, we only take care of the physical, trying to correct visible symptoms, while the emotional and spiritual are forgotten. The result is momentary relief, but without real transformation. Cayce believed that healthy aging came from integration, taking care of what you think, what you feel, and what you do on a daily basis. There's no way to separate these aspects when the goal is to live with more quality. This balance isn't a destination, but a continuous practice, and the sooner it's started, the greater the fruits harvested over the years. Many people believe that aging well depends exclusively on genetics, but Cayce demystified this idea with clear examples and observations. He argued that, although genetic inheritance has an influence, lifestyle and daily thoughts shape the way we age. He met people with a complicated family history who, by adopting simple self-care practices, lived with energy and lucidity to advanced ages. At the same time, he saw genetically healthy individuals who became ill early due to negligence towards themselves. This vision frees us from the thought that we're stuck in an unchangeable fate. On the contrary, we have every day the chance to choose between habits that strengthen us or that wear us down. Aging, according to Cayce, wasn't an inevitable burden, but a path that can be traveled with dignity, lightness, and fullness, if there is awareness. Another important point highlighted by Cayce is that the human body has a natural capacity for healing and regeneration, provided it receives the right conditions. This idea was revolutionary for the time and is now increasingly confirmed by modern science. He said that the body wasn't created to break down quickly, but to last if it's well taken care of. This means that even those who have been cultivating bad habits for years can still experience positive changes. The secret lies in consistency, patience, and commitment to your own well-being. Small daily practices, even if they seem insignificant, accumulate powerful results over time. Cayce didn't talk about miracles, but about responsibility. The responsibility of caring for the temple that is your own body, respecting its limits and listening to its signals. What ages often isn't time, but the way we deal with it. In this context, Cayce also highly valued contact with nature as a form of revitalization. He observed that natural environments offered the body a type of restorative energy that no closed environment was able to provide. The fresh air, the sound of trees, the soft sunlight, all of this helped to realign the body and calm the mind. People who spent time outdoors showed more emotional balance, better circulation, and deeper sleep. Today we know that this contact regulates the biological rhythm and reduces stress. Walking barefoot on the grass, feeling the wind on your face, or simply observing a natural landscape are already attitudes that promote internal rejuvenation. The isolation of cities with increasingly artificial routines disconnects us from this essential resource. Reconnecting to nature is therefore a simple and powerful way to take care of your own vitality. Another point that Cayce always reinforced was the impact of water on the body's renewal process. For him, chronic dehydration was one of the most ignored factors of premature aging. The body needs water not only to quench thirst, but to keep joints healthy, skin hydrated, kidneys functioning well, and the brain fully active. Many people believe they drink enough water, but spend the whole day with artificial liquids such as coffee, sodas, or processed drinks, which don't fulfill the same role. Cayce recommended regular consumption of pure water throughout the day, especially outside of meals. He saw this as a gesture of respect for the body, as if we were washing from the inside what time insists on wearing down. A simple, accessible habit, but one that can transform the level of energy, disposition, and even mental clarity. In addition, Cayce drew attention to the rhythm of modern life and its incompatibility with healthy aging. He warned that constant hurry, overload of commitments, and lack of real breaks created a state of chronic agitation in the body and mind. Over time, this became fertile ground for diseases and exhaustion. He recommended that each person find moments of silence, deceleration, and real rest. It wasn't about passive leisure, but about quality time for yourself. A quiet read, a silent walk, time without digital distractions. This more human rhythm allowed the body to reorganize, and the mind to recover. Longevity isn't built in a hurry, but with balance. And finding that rhythm is one of the wisest decisions someone can make at any stage of life. In his readings, Cayce also frequently mentioned the power of sincere relationships. For him, living with real people, with whom you can be who you really are, had a therapeutic effect on health. Healthy aging is directly linked to the quality of bonds and not just the quantity of social interactions. Being surrounded by people but feeling lonely is a type of solitude that wears you down deeply. On the other hand, an authentic conversation, a welcoming look or attentive listening has the power to restore encouragement and energy. Cayce reminds us that it's necessary to invest in relationships that nurture, that respect, and that inspire. And this is true at any age. Loneliness can be combated with courage and openness, seeking new connections and valuing those that already exist. Because aging well is also continuing to feel part of the world. One of the biggest misconceptions about aging is believing that the most active phase of life has already passed. Cayce saw this as a cultural myth that needed to be broken. For him, vitality isn't tied to youth, but to purpose. People who maintain curiosity, learn new things, and challenge themselves in a light way continue to cultivate energy even in advanced ages. The human brain is plastic, capable of adapting and renewing itself, as long as it's stimulated. Learning a new language, starting a hobby, studying a subject of interest. All of this moves areas of the brain that keep memory active, reasoning sharp, and spirit alive. Mental sedentary behavior is as harmful as physical. Cayce reinforced that whoever feels useful remains connected to life. And this doesn't depend on age, but on the disposition to continue learning and contributing, even in a simple way. It's also important to remember that Cayce deeply valued kindness towards yourself. He believed that the way we talk to ourselves internally has a direct impact on health. Severe self-criticism, constant regrets, or the tendency to blame yourself for everything creates a toxic emotional environment. Over time, this weakens the immune system and prevents the body from recovering fully. He suggested practicing self-observation without judgment, recognizing mistakes, but also celebrating successes. Healthy aging begins when the internal dialogue is compassionate. Saying words of encouragement to yourself, cultivating patience in the face of limitations, and treating yourself with the same respect that you would give to a dear friend makes all the difference. The body listens to what the mind repeats, and if it says, every day that it's still worth living to the fullest, the body responds. As we age, we begin to perceive with greater clarity the value of time. Cayce said that time is an ally or a saboteur, depending on how it's used. Spending hours with useless worries, with repetitive discussions, or with empty distractions sucks the vital energy without us realizing it. He argued that living well is using time with awareness, not just to produce, but to nurture what has meaning. This includes rest, contemplation, and moments of connection with what makes us feel alive. He warned that aging isn't a process of loss, but of selection. Over time, we learn what's worth keeping and what should be left behind. This wisdom is a gift that comes with the years, and using it with clarity allows you to live with more authenticity. Aging well is, above all, living with intention. Throughout his life, Cayce left a legacy that goes beyond predictions and cures. He offered us a new way of looking at the body, mind, and soul. And above all, he reminded us that aging doesn't have to be a process of wear and tear, but of transformation. The habits we adopt today shape the type of old age we will live tomorrow. And it's never too late to start changing. No matter how old you are, there's still time to breathe better, eat mindfully, move your body, cultivate good thoughts, and seek real connections. Aging well is a daily construction, and each choice, however small it may seem, carries an enormous power of renewal. Cayce believed in the power of new beginnings. And this power is available to everyone at any time. Just look carefully and choose with intention what truly nourishes and strengthens you. If this content made sense to you, consider leaving a like and sharing it with someone who is also looking to age with more quality. These simple gestures help this knowledge reach those who really need it. Maybe someone who's feeling discouraged, overwhelmed, or lost amidst the demands of modern life. What Cayce teaches us is that aging isn't a sentence, but an invitation to presence. A reminder that, even as the years go by, we are still capable of transforming our days into meaningful experiences. Each phase of life carries its beauty, its strength, and its potential for growth. And by taking responsibility for our habits, we find a possible, accessible, and worthy path to travel. The secret isn't in stopping time, but in walking with it, consciously, respectfully, and truthfully. We end this script here, but the invitation remains open. Look kindly at your routine, observe your habits, and choose with more gentleness how you want to take care of yourself from now on. Cayce's teachings remain alive, not as rules, but as guides to a life with more meaning. The wisdom lies in realizing that aging well doesn't require big formulas, but small attitudes done with intention. The body speaks, the mind responds, and the soul recognizes when we're on the right path. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you has already started this movement, and that in itself is a good sign. Take care of yourself with presence, with respect, and with simplicity. Because in the end, aging well is continuing to live with truth.